Hello everybody, me John Lorden back here with more itchy mysteries for you guys. Hope you're having a nice week so far. Today's review is just a little bit different. It's not the traditional true crime single mystery that I seem to cover a lot of the time. This one is called After Innocence, and it's really a great way, if you're not familiar with the Innocence Project, which is basically an organization that helps to free wrongfully convicted people, usually with the use of DNA evidence, but not always. This film is a great way to learn about that organization and maybe more importantly about the after effects of when someone is exonerated, what they go through. And you know, a lot of the times when I'm reviewing films here, I'm telling you how they're shot, you know, how the music is mixed in and all that kind of stuff. This film doesn't really hit on those marks. It is shot pretty much like what I would consider a television news magazine, something like a 2020 or Dateline or something along those lines. So you're not going to get amazing cinematography or anything like that, but where it really makes up for that is in human storytelling and raising considerations that a lot of us might not think about. The main consideration being how these people that are freed from these sometimes prison sentences that go on for decades, how do they get reacclimated to life? How do they try to fit back in? And you learn some really interesting things about the justice system and how it treats those people. Like in many cases, their records do not get wiped clean, and then these people have trouble finding jobs, which, you know, if you were rightfully convicted, it would kind of make sense that, you know, you might have to pay for what you have done in the past, even after your prison sentence is served. But in these cases, these are guys that were wrongfully convicted to begin with. So it really raises some very hard questions, takes a look into some interpersonal family dynamics pretty in depth. You know, a lot of the times these guys have to move back in with parents. It's just really a very touching story. I didn't expect to be quite as moved by it as I was. And in terms of those of you looking for a mystery, you certainly do learn a little bit about each case, but it covers a lot of different stories. I think if I remember right, there's seven different stories that are being covered during this. So you don't get really in depth into the details of why each person was convicted. A few of them, they do kind of talk about what the key evidence was and how the new evidence basically wipes that out. And you get to see some of the things that go on in trial as these largely volunteer lawyers from the Innocence Project are trying to get this evidence introduced into these people's cases so that it can be considered and hopefully these people can be freed. And it really leaves you with a bit of an unsettling question about the justice system. And I do know this is a topic that we talk about a lot on this channel. I remember there's someone in it that says, this is the best justice system in the world. And it really hit me when I heard that mentioned in this film, because I think I agree with it, but I don't think that that means that it's a perfect system. I think most of us would agree it's not a perfect system. And I don't know if I believe that it's as good as it could be. It seems to me there are some things, particularly after you're done watching this film, that are still quite wrong with how some of the justice system functions, particularly some convictions that are based on seemingly eyewitness testimony, and that eyewitness testimony turning out to just be completely wrong. There's even a quote in here that somewhere around 80%, in particular of rape cases, that use eyewitness testimony, that at least for the cases reviewed by the Innocence Project, in 80% of those cases, the eyewitness is actually incorrect. So pretty staggering information that it hits you with. A lot of humanity, a very down-to-earth approach and touch about the challenges that people face as they're going through this process, and after they come out of this process, how they reintegrate into the rest of the world. It was really a good film, I just got to tell you guys, and even hit me in a very soft, emotional place at the end, which they're tracking one story of a guy who isn't quite freed yet, and to see what he has to go through, it's if you've got a heart out there, I'm pretty sure it's going to touch you. So I highly recommend you check it out. This one has won a bunch of awards, including a Sundance Special Jury Prize. It came out a while ago. This is actually a film from 2005. On IMDB right now, it rates a 7.8. Metacritic has it at about a 75, but I'm seeing other places that rate it as high as a 9 out of 10. For me personally, I think I'd give it probably an 8.5 out of 10. It's very gripping. The time kind of flew by. I was just so wrapped up in these people's stories, and I wanted to see how it was all going to turn out. And it just left me with some very hard questions about the justice system and how things could potentially work a bit better than they actually do. It also left me just wondering, does any system that is built in the way that our justice system built, where it's kind of a slow-moving thing, it doesn't evolve very quickly, are people always going to be abusing systems like that? It really kind of bothers me in a way that there doesn't seem to be any system of self-regulation or checks and balances that are built into that process unless you used the justice system against itself. And that is a very slow process. So it just makes me wonder if maybe we do have the best justice system in the world, but couldn't it be a lot better? I don't know. I think that's a topic for a whole different show, and maybe a very long topic to cover indeed. But humanity is the number one star in this movie, and you'll see some people in it that we've talked about before, and of course you'll see these wonderful people that are volunteering their time to help the Innocence Project. As a matter of fact, it even left me with that question. Since the Innocence Project exists, isn't that a sign that our justice system has some severe critical flaw? I mean, that organization has been around since 1992. This isn't just a group of volunteers that got together for a few years, poked a hole in a couple cases, and got a couple of guys freed. The film's website says that they have freed over 150 people since they have been in existence, and I don't know how old that information is. It's likely that they've freed a lot more since then. In the film, they mentioned they have 30 offices across the nation that are working for them. It seems pretty substantial to me that an organization like that has to exist, is able to exist, and is showing the justice system that, hey, in many of these cases, you are not getting it right, and it keeps happening. And it also left me with this big feeling about humanity, because I do feel like the justice system is almost like this human thing. It is people coming together to try to determine these outcomes. It is people arguing their points of views to help determine these outcomes. There is a lot of human interaction. It's not, unfortunately maybe, it's not a computer program where everyone can decide on the parameters of how that thing's going to run, and then you just kick cases through it and it lets you know. It is a very fluid human thing, and because of that, it is inherently flawed. It will always be inherently flawed. You get all the worst of humanity seemingly showing up in the justice system, as well as all the best of humanity, which this film also pays some tribute to. I wish they would have actually gone into it just a little bit more about the types of people that volunteers. But you have lawyers that are volunteering their time to this organization, not getting paid a thing, and actually paying out of their own pockets in some cases to make these cases go, to do the work that's needed to get these cases to progress. So, like I said, kind of you see both sides of it, the worst humanity and the best of humanity, in this very concise package that's going to leave you with a bunch of questions in your lap. So if you are interested in the topic of justice, I can't recommend it enough. You have to check out After Innocence. If you are interested in trying to understand what happens to people that are wrongly convicted, you really need to check this out. And just know that you're going to get this very human story about people coming out of that and just having their lives kind of obliterated, and then trying to pick up the pieces and move forward. And what type of help do they really get from the people that put them incorrectly in jail in the first place? You're probably going to be surprised to see the answers to those questions. So I hope you'll check it out, and thank you so much for spending some time with me here on Itchy Mysteries, where we talked about something. It's not quite an itchy mystery, but there's certainly some elements in there that I think still fit the mold of this show. I hope you're having a great day, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you on the next show on the Lord and Arch channel.